My beloved child, stop for one quiet moment, because what is about to reach your heart has been waiting longer than you realize. This is not an ordinary message. It is a turning point hidden inside an ordinary day. There is a voice that has tried to find you through silence, through unexpected memories, through moments you almost ignored. Today, that voice grows impossible to overlook. Listen carefully, because every word you hear now carries the feeling of someone who can no longer hide what has been locked inside. Stay a little longer, because the next few moments may reveal why your path has been shifting in ways you never understood. There is someone whose heart has been carrying emotions too heavy to speak aloud. They are not searching for perfect words anymore. They are searching for one chance. One opening. One moment where distance no longer controls the story. While the world keeps moving as if nothing has changed, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. Their thoughts return to you without permission. Their quiet moments are filled with questions that have no easy answers. They keep wondering if destiny has already placed the opportunity in front of both of you, or if time is quietly slipping away. Pause for a second and ask yourself something. Have you noticed the strange moments lately? The unexpected reminder. The familiar feeling that appears from nowhere. The dream that seemed unusually vivid. What if those moments were never random? What if they were tiny pieces of a much larger picture that is only now beginning to reveal itself? Sometimes the biggest turning points never arrive with loud announcements. They arrive disguised as simple moments that almost go unnoticed. The message reaching you today is filled with urgency, but not fear. It carries hope that refuses to disappear. Somewhere, someone has finally realized that pretending to be strong has become impossible. Every lesson, every delay, every unanswered question has slowly brought them toward one unavoidable truth. They cannot keep hiding what they truly feel. They cannot continue acting as though your absence has changed nothing. Deep inside, they know that silence has lasted long enough. But here is what makes this moment different. This is not only about another person. This is also about you. Life has been preparing you in ways you couldn't see. Every challenge strengthened something within you. Every disappointment quietly built wisdom. Every delay shaped your heart for a conversation that could only happen after both of you had changed. What once felt like lost time may actually become the reason everything finally fits together. Wait before you leave, because this next thought matters more than the last. Imagine standing at the edge of a bridge that neither of you believed could ever be rebuilt. Now imagine discovering that every missing piece has already been placed there, one by one, without either of you noticing. The bridge was never destroyed forever. It was simply unfinished. And now, the final pieces are beginning to appear. There is another truth few people recognize. Emotions have a way of traveling farther than words. Long before someone gathers the courage to speak, their heart begins sending quiet signals into the world. Those signals appear through strange timing, unexpected encounters, familiar names, meaningful coincidences, and moments that feel impossible to explain logically. The more aware you become, the more clearly you begin to notice them. They are gentle reminders that your story is still moving, even when nothing seems to happen on the surface. Something inside your soulmate has reached a breaking point, not a moment of defeat, but a moment of honesty. They no longer wish to hide behind uncertainty. They no longer want yesterday to control tomorrow. Every passing day has shown them that some connections refuse to disappear, no matter how far life tries to separate them. That realization has brought tears, not because hope is gone, but because hope has finally become stronger than fear. Before this chapter closes, remember one thing. Some messages arrive exactly when they are needed, not when they are expected. Perhaps this is one of those moments. Perhaps the answer you've been searching for has already started moving toward you. And perhaps, this quiet cry to, "Please open this before it's too late," is not asking you to chase anything. It is inviting you to remain open, aware, and ready for the unexpected moment when everything you thought was ending quietly begins again. You might think you've already heard the most important part, but the next chapter uncovers why this hidden message could change the direction of both your futures forever. A strange feeling is beginning to rise now, not because the story is becoming louder, but because the truth is finally stepping out of the shadows. Stay with this moment. The next revelation explains why your soulmate's heart could no longer remain silent, and why the message has reached you exactly now instead of weeks or months ago. There came a quiet night when everything around them looked completely normal, yet nothing inside them felt the same. They replayed countless memories, searching for the exact moment everything changed. At first, they believed time would erase what they felt. They convinced themselves that distance would make life easier. But the opposite happened. Every day without answers only made your presence feel stronger. They discovered something unexpected: you were never just another chapter in their life. You became the unfinished sentence they couldn't stop reading. Think about this for a moment. Why do some people disappear from our lives without leaving a trace, while others continue living in our thoughts long after the conversation ends? What if the answer has nothing to do with coincidence? What if certain connections continue growing even during silence? That possibility has completely changed the way your soulmate now sees the future. And then, something happened they never expected. An ordinary conversation. A familiar place. A passing memory. None of it seemed important at first. Yet within seconds, every hidden emotion returned with surprising clarity. Suddenly they understood that pretending had become far more exhausting than telling the truth. They realized they weren't waiting for the perfect timing anymore. They were waiting for the courage to stop running from what their own heart had been whispering all along. Stay a little longer, because this next piece could connect everything. Your soulmate has slowly begun letting go of old fears that once controlled every decision. Instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" another question has quietly taken its place: "What if I lose the chance forever by remaining silent?" That single thought has changed everything. Sometimes the greatest transformation doesn't begin with a dramatic event. It begins with one honest realization that refuses to leave. While this has been happening, something inside you has also been shifting. Maybe you've become stronger. Maybe you've learned patience. Maybe you've stopped chasing answers and started trusting your own growth. Without realizing it, both journeys have been moving toward the same point from different directions. Like two distant roads that appear separate until they suddenly meet at one unexpected destination. Before we continue, if this story feels as though it found you for a reason, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if these messages bring you hope and perspective, consider sharing them with someone who might need the same encouragement, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Now listen carefully. There is one detail your soulmate has not spoken aloud to anyone. They keep imagining what the first honest conversation would feel like. Not a perfect conversation. Not one without emotion. Just a real one. They wonder whether old misunderstandings could finally dissolve. Whether silence could be replaced by clarity. Whether everything left unsaid has been waiting for exactly the right moment instead of the earliest moment. Wait before moving on, because this changes the picture again. Sometimes life delays a meeting not because it wishes to separate people, but because it is quietly preparing both hearts to recognize what they once overlooked. Looking back too early would have created confusion. Looking now creates understanding. That difference is everything. It already knows the answer. The only question remaining is whether destiny is preparing the moment when both of you finally see the same truth at exactly the same time. And believe this, the next chapter reveals the silent sign neither of you noticed before, a sign that may explain why this message reached you today instead of any other day. A quiet realization is about to change everything, so don't rush past this moment. Sometimes the greatest truth isn't hidden in what people say. It lives inside what they can no longer keep inside. What you're about to hear is the final piece your soulmate has been carrying, hoping that somehow, in some unexpected way, it would finally reach you. There was a moment when they stopped asking life for signs and simply became still. In that silence, something remarkable happened. Instead of hearing fear, they heard clarity. Instead of replaying old doubts, they began remembering every reason your connection felt different from the beginning. They understood that some people enter our lives to teach lessons, while others arrive to transform the direction of our future. For the first time, they stopped fighting that realization. Now ask yourself one question. Why has this message appeared before you today? Out of all the stories, all the voices, all the distractions surrounding you, what made you pause here? Perhaps the answer isn't meant to be explained immediately. Perhaps awareness always arrives before understanding. The meaning often unfolds only after we choose to listen. Wait a little longer, because the next thought may stay with you long after this video ends. Your soulmate is no longer searching for perfection. They have released the impossible expectations that once kept them trapped. They no longer believe every answer must arrive instantly. Instead, they have learned that meaningful connections are built through honesty, patience, and courage. That lesson has changed them more than they ever expected. At the same time, your own path has been quietly preparing you. Every challenge you've faced has strengthened your ability to recognize what truly matters. The person you were months ago is not the person listening now. You have grown in ways that cannot always be seen, yet they can absolutely be felt. Growth has been happening on both sides of this story. Here's where everything begins to connect. Imagine two stars traveling across an enormous night sky. From the ground they appear impossibly far apart, yet their paths have always been moving according to the same unseen design. Neither star rushes. Neither one forces the meeting. They simply continue shining until the moment their light reaches the same horizon. Some journeys work exactly like that. What feels delayed may actually be unfolding with extraordinary precision. Your soulmate has finally accepted one powerful truth: silence cannot express what the heart already knows. They understand that waiting forever is not the same as protecting a connection. Real change begins the moment someone chooses authenticity over uncertainty. That realization has become the quiet turning point they never expected to experience. And there is something equally important for you. Remain open to unexpected conversations. Stay aware of meaningful opportunities. Continue becoming the strongest version of yourself, because the future is always shaped by who you are becoming today, not only by what happened yesterday. Sometimes the greatest gift isn't finding the right moment, it is becoming the right person when that moment arrives. Before this chapter closes, let me gently ask something. If this message resonated with your heart, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Your story may encourage someone else who needs hope today. And if you enjoy journeys like this, subscribing simply means we'll continue exploring these moments together. One final thought before we part. The title began with a heartfelt plea: please open this before it's too late. Maybe too late was never about running out of time. Maybe it was about refusing to close your heart because of old disappointments. Maybe the real message has always been this: hope becomes powerful the moment you allow yourself to believe that tomorrow can hold something different from yesterday. The story doesn't end here. Because the next chapter reveals the unexpected choice your soulmate is preparing to make, and why that decision could become the beginning of an entirely new journey. Everything has been leading to this moment, but the most unexpected chapter has remained hidden until now. If you've stayed this far, you've already sensed that this story was never about coincidence. It has always been about timing. And timing has a remarkable way of revealing what the heart has been protecting for far too long. There comes a point when waiting no longer feels like patience, it feels like a missed opportunity. Your soulmate has reached that point. Not because they suddenly changed overnight, but because every quiet day has shown them the same truth from a different angle. They have realized that some feelings become stronger when they are acknowledged instead of ignored. For a long time, they believed life would simply move on. They thought new routines, new places, and new distractions would slowly erase the connection they carried within. Yet every attempt led them back to the same realization. Certain people leave footprints on the heart that time cannot wash away. The more they tried to move forward without understanding those feelings, the more they recognized that something meaningful still remained unfinished. Take a moment and imagine this. Someone is standing at the edge of an unopened door. They have the key in their hand, yet they hesitate, not because the door is locked, but because opening it requires honesty. That door represents every conversation delayed by uncertainty, every emotion hidden behind pride, every opportunity postponed by overthinking. Today, your soulmate is no longer focused on what could go wrong. They are beginning to wonder what beautiful possibilities could appear if they finally choose courage. Stay until the final moments, because the next realization changes the entire picture. The tears mentioned at the beginning of this journey were never tears of defeat. They were the release that comes when someone stops pretending they have all the answers. Sometimes crying is simply the heart making room for hope again. It is the quiet moment when fear leaves and clarity arrives. While this has been unfolding within them, something equally important has been happening in your own life. You may not have noticed it immediately, but your perspective has evolved. Situations that once overwhelmed you no longer carry the same weight. You have become calmer, wiser, and more aware of what truly deserves your energy. That inner growth is preparing you for conversations that require maturity rather than impulse. Here's the surprising part. The future rarely changes because of one dramatic event. More often, it changes because of one sincere decision. A decision to listen instead of assume. A decision to understand instead of judge. A decision to remain open instead of closing the door before someone has the chance to knock. What if that single decision is closer than you think? Perhaps this message arrived today to remind you that meaningful connections are strengthened by authenticity, not perfection. The strongest bonds are not built because two people never faced distance or uncertainty. They are built because both people eventually choose truth over silence. Before we close this chapter, I'd love to invite you to be part of this journey. If these words brought you encouragement, share your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading them may find the hope they've been searching for. And if stories like this inspire you, subscribing simply means you'll be here when the next chapter unfolds. Now hold on to this final thought. Your soulmate's cry was never only asking to be heard. It was also asking for understanding. Sometimes the greatest message isn't, "Come back immediately." Sometimes it's, "Please don't let fear write the ending of a story that still has beautiful pages left." The next chapter uncovers the unexpected sign that convinces your soulmate the time to stop hiding has finally arrived, and why that sign changes everything.